What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Tarian, and welcome to this video about whether or not the many League of Legends ladies would agree to be your Valentines if you asked. Why am I doing this, you may ask? Great question. It's because I know like 99% of the people that watch my content are men between the ages of 18 to 29, which also happens to be the largest part of men that are single. So I figured what better way to remind you than by telling you whether or not the pile of pixels that you edge to for multiple hours a day would actually go on a Valentine's date with you. Let's go. Ari would definitely not be your Valentine, but she wouldn't be mean about it either. I see it as more of a she would let you down nicely. Akali would definitely be your Valentine, especially if you look anything like Kayn. It also probably helps that she's more than likely never had a Valentine before. Anivia would definitely say that she would be your Valentine, but I have a sneaking suspicion that she would forget to show up to the date. Jail. Ashe is 100% going to say yes to being her Valentine, and I would argue that the date would go quite well for you. Belveth would definitely say yes to being your Valentine and then proceed to eat your face, so have fun, I guess? Briar would absolutely say yes to being her Valentine and then promptly ask what that means because she has no concept of Valentine's Day. Caitlyn definitely wouldn't be your Valentine, mostly because she's better than you and she knows it, and also because she's too busy for Valentine's Day. She would without a doubt reject you, and she wouldn't even try to be nice about it. On one hand, I want to say yes, because that way she can manipulate and use you, and on the other hand, I want to say no, because I doubt anyone who simps for her could ever live up to her standards, so I'll say maybe. She would say no because she doesn't know how to properly communicate her feelings and then cry about the fact that she said no. She would say yes, but your life would end right after the date is done. She would say yes, but your life would end before the date even begins. She would only say yes if you were able to beat her in a duel, and let's be honest with ourselves, you're not going to be winning that. Gwen would definitely say yes to being your Valentine and then promptly start making way too many heart shapes out of construction paper. I mean, like, so many that you would be able to suffocate under the amount of paper that she is using. Unless you look like Braum, she's definitely going to say no. Aurelia would probably say no, but she would definitely appreciate that you asked. Janna would say yes and then be about an hour late to the date, so I mean, you can count it as a win if you want. She would say yes, but do you really want her to say yes? Kaisa would say no, but she'd probably give some really cryptic and very strange reason for why she can't be your Valentine instead of just saying no. She would go into some long-winded speech about how the last time she was someone's Valentine, she got hurt, and you would be bored waiting for her to actually reject you. She would say yes, but I can't guarantee the date would be as fun as you would want it to be. Unless your name is Garen, she will definitely say no. I'm pretty sure she would just smite you before you even got the question out of your mouth. That means no. I'm pretty sure Lamb would not be understanding of the concept of what a Valentine is, and then you'd have to spend a few minutes explaining it to her, and then even after you're done explaining it, I'm pretty sure she'd just ask Wolf to be her Valentine. Also jail. Oh, she'll say yes. And you'll wish that you hadn't even asked her in the first place. Leona will definitely say yes to being your Valentine, and I doubt that you'd regret asking her. Unless you think you're going to be on top, then you might be a little disappointed, but seeing as though you're asking out Leona, I doubt you'd want to be on top. I think Lilia would definitely agree to being your Valentine, but that's only because the only way you'd even get the ability to ask is if she was willing to be near you in the first place, which would already be a big accomplishment for someone as shy as she is. Also, Dums, no. She would say no to you. Go to jail. Lysandra would probably say no unless you could convince her that you're actually worth it to say yes to. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Jail. Lux would most definitely say yes to you when you ask her, and yeah, that's really it. There's nothing else of note here. She would say yes as long as you realize that she is going to find a way to own you by the end of the date. I would argue that she would say yes and that you would have an amazing time out on a date, but make sure you keep the topics appropriate or she might just decide to never trust you or anyone else again. It's a dog. It is a dog. Jail. Nami would definitely say yes, but you'll need to be okay with having 2 other people there besides Nami that came along for the date, because now you're trying to get into a poly relationship, so have fun? I think this would be the exact same thing as Briar, where she'll say yes and then probably need you to explain what a Valentine is. I honestly think that Nidalee would agree to being your Valentine, but you wouldn't be willing to go on a date with you. Just get ready to go hunting. And not the type with guns. She would absolutely turn you down, but due to the tone of her voice, you probably would be confused about why she's so happy saying no to you. No. That's all she would say. I think Poppy would say yes if you're the hero and downright not understand why you're asking her to be your Valentine if you weren't. Do you actually think you'd even have the chance to talk to someone like this? Quinn might say yes, but Valor would be there during the date. You can decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Rek'Sai doesn't know human language, so technically she can't give an answer. However, if she were able to give an answer, she would eat you. She's a teenager, go to jail. Do you actually think you'd even get the chance to talk to someone like this? She would say no, but not because she doesn't like you, it's because she's traumatized. She'd say yes and then probably spend the entire date making you realize how grateful you should be that she said yes. She would say no, but you'd somehow misconstrue that into her saying yes because you're too down bad for her to believe that she'd reject you. She is married. She is definitely going to say no. She'd say yes, but I don't think the date would be as good as you'd be hoping for. She feels like the type of person to only talk about themselves and not let you get a word in edgewise. She would definitely reject you and probably call you a weirdo for even asking. She'd say yes, assuming you have enough money to pay her to say yes, and enough to then pay for the whole date, which will not be cheap, by the way. Sona would say yes, but seeing as though she's mute, you wouldn't be able to hear her answer, so have fun trying to figure out whether it's a yes or a no. She would say no, but then realize that you really wanted her to say yes, so she would then say yes just to not hurt your feelings. Syndra would say yes, and you would wish that she didn't. Talia would definitely say yes, just don't expect her to not be extremely awkward at the date. Tristana would probably say no because she's too busy being a guard for Bandle City to be your Valentine. Also, she knows the reason you want to yordle, and she does not approve. Vayne would definitely reject you, and not even in a nice way. She'd probably do the equivalent of cock and ball torture to your request. Even by yordle standards, she is underage. Jail. Vi would say yes and then completely forget that she has to go on a date, so she'd get in a mad panic about getting ready and show up an hour late, and you'd still be ready to go on the date because you don't have any self-respect. Considering her relationship with her con, she would reject you faster than anyone else on this list by an insane degree. Like, you wouldn't even be able to start your sentence before she said no. She's a cat! Jail! Zeri would probably turn you down because she would believe that she couldn't make the time for you while she's being the main character. Oh man, I wonder what this one's gonna be, guys. Oh, what a hard decision this is. Go to jail. Go to jail. Zyra would say yes. Have fun being fertilizer for plants. And there you have it, the total list of whether or not your waifu would accept you on Valentine's Day. And for all my single viewers out there, don't worry, I'm sure you'll find love one day. Just be true to yourself and don't try to change yourself just to get someone's attention. Also, go subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this content, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!